I'd just like to talk about the things that we've already announced in the campaign as far as complementing, giving more credence to what's in the poverty reduction strategy. So, first of all, I think it's important we raise wages. I've long advocated for a higher minimum wage. There are things a city can do to lift wages up for low-income earners that are working directly for the city. Like, the city has a floor, but there are still workers, I understand, that are below that floor. And the second thing is, I'd like to say, if you're going to be doing business with the city of Winnipeg, you got to pay a minimum rate. And I think the start on that is $15 an hour, and we move quickly from there because we should be having a city that values work. The second thing is around social enterprise jobs. We're going to add 1,000 over the 4-year mandate, and we want, like yesterday or last week, I was visiting with a group of South Sudanese women on Victor Avenue, and they're all unemployed, and they're just amazing human beings with so much capacity and potential. And giving them access to the labor market is, I think, is an amazing poverty reduction tool.
What do you mean by that?
Well, there's a lot of people in Winnipeg still living in poverty. That's the bottom line. It's the same reason that I don't support the current homelessness strategy, because it's not working.
What about it isn't working?
There's an immense number of homeless people on the street. That's what's not working, right? Outcomes are what matter. And I'm about outcomes, and I'm about accountability. There are a lot of people who think that the things that they need to be measuring and reporting on are inputs and activities. We have heard for the last 8 years that we've spent record amounts of money on roads, but I don't see a record number of roads being built. And the current poverty reduction strategy is obviously not working because too many Winnipeggers are living in poverty. And the solution to poverty is a nice job. And the way that we're going to get there is by making Winnipeg the Canadian leader in growth and investment. And that is what drives up private sector wages.
Well, I support the current poverty reduction strategy because it will not only maybe expand on food security, it will also ensure equity as well in income opportunities as well, and partnering in affordable housing. So I've gone through that as well, and I see that it really makes sense to me. But in terms of funding and some other stuff is what I've been thinking about. But majorly, it also supports culture of caring demonstrated through strategy implementation as well, and maybe system change.
Well, I think we can do a lot more to alleviate poverty in our city. I think there have been huge challenges. This is, and a lot of it actually comes back to actually how we design our city and how we interact with each other. When I think about, for instance, the strengths, sometimes we overlook various groups in our city and say, oh, we can push them to the side. And when I go to powwows as an example, how many Indigenous peoples are in our inner city on EIA but they have these amazing skills in creating and crafting beautiful regalia, traditional knowledge, yet we don't have any Indigenous tourism in this city. Yet we have 100,000 Indigenous peoples. There are people in Europe, in Asia, in France, Germany, in China, in Japan, in the Philippines, really around the world who want authentic experiences, yet we have not created any jobs in Indigenous tourism, even though the federal government has invested millions of dollars right across the country in Indigenous tourism, and we have not gone after getting those funds to actually develop an industry here where people then can participate and put on powwows, which they're strong at, where they can sell their artifacts, where they can sell their crafts, and to tourists. And people would actually pay and want to come to Winnipeg. We could be known as the Indigenous capital of Canada, but we don't do that.
I do. I was very proud, as a councillor in this last term, to be, there when we adopted the poverty reduction strategy. So I do support the poverty reduction strategy. I know now we have to implement it, but I certainly support it.
The city, I think each level of government has to take a priority area. For me, for the city, it would be housing and transportation are the two areas that we should take on. We can't do it all of ourselves, but that's certainly that.
Yes, I do support the poverty reduction strategy, but I would want to make City Hall commit to the abolishment of poverty within our city.
Okay, so you'd be looking to strengthen it is what I'm hearing you say.
Correct.
I do support it, but you know, you guys are catching me on a very passionate day here.
Yeah.
I mean, I apologize.
No,
you know,
never.
yeah, no, it's there. It's been done. I don't believe that. For me specifically, what Winnipeggers should not expect is for me to come in and start, start redoing a lot of the work that has already been done. Whether it's about whether it's homelessness, whether it's poverty, that strategy is actually so well done. And it was done with the consultation with the people I would want it to be in consultation with. So it's kind of checked all my boxes in the creation of it. Where I struggle is, again, we create something, we back it, we do all the work to do it, yet we put zero funding behind it or very minimal funding behind it. So how can a strategy actually work when we're actually not doing the job that needs to be done? Creating a document, creating something so beautiful as a poverty reduction document, taking people's time to recreate it, taking their social and mental energy to create it, but then not actually execute. I mean, that's really not what I believe is the way to do things. So yes, I believe in it, but I really want, and I'm committed to ensuring that we're finding ways to actually support it all the way through, so we're doing the job that we want to do.
Important strategy. One of the things I think will be maybe a theme throughout this is that we actually have some really great strategies that the city has developed, I think. When I read through each one of the strategies, they are good. They're very well thought out. They bring a lot of groups together who, you know, like yourself, I mean, I could not do any of this alone. I'd have to, you know, work with the organizations who are really directly involved in this area or any particular area and listen and learn. And really rely on the collective experience to, to make the proper decisions for the city and for City Hall to, do the same thing. So having said that, we have great strategies. We do need to look at, when we build these strategies, what are we prioritizing? When can we put the action steps into place? And then how are we executing on these strategies? And I noticed that a lot in some of the great plans and strategies is we just really don't have a solid execution plan. So we might think that this is a great strategy. One thing I would look at is this one and a lot of other ones to say, what is the time frame? And if we have a time frame, are we actually able to really meet that? Like, have we put some action steps in play that we're actually going to meet that? Because most of the times, if we're honest with ourselves, we're getting behind every single day, and we're really not pushing forward to meet these goals.